What is your advice to the people right now who are outraged that this is a second killing at the hands of Border Patrol in 2 weeks?
As Christy said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence.
But he brought a gun. He brought a gun. Have you ever gone to a protest, Jonathan?
I mean, we do have a Second Amendment in this country.
Oh, well, look at that. That's the director of the FBI for the Trump administration telling you, as an American, you're not legally allowed to have a firearm on you down on the corner of a random street in America. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that was a crime? Crazy to me. I thought we had the Second Amendment. Apparently, the Second Amendment is about to go away under the Trump administration. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and we are going to continue talking about the biggest story in America right now, a follow-up of the last video of sorts, because there's been a lot of new information, camera angles that have come out since this event took place in Minneapolis, and I gotta say, the more information that comes out, the worse and worse and worse it looks for ICE and Border Patrol. Yeah, it's not good, but even crazier than the event is actually the reaction from MAGA and the Second Amendment community. Yes, bizarrely, 2026, it turns out that MAGA is now the anti-Second Amendment party. Yes, they've joined forces with Beto O'Rourke and AOC, and the new ideology, and we're going to look at the clips that's come out from MAGA, is if you carry a loaded weapon anywhere in America, you deserve to be shot in the face for it. Don't know how we got here, but we're here. So that's what we're going to talk about in the video today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel. Let's jump into it. First thing we're going to do, we're going to review some of the new footage and actually really break down the entire thing here before we get into what the official statements from the government, Kash Patel, Kristi Noem, etc., want Americans to know that you no longer have the constitutional right to carry, and you deserve to be fucking killed for it if you do. Yes, this is their words, not mine. So first things first, let's see what Kristi Noem had to say about this event.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
Defensive?
Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
Okay, so got it, yes. Alex Preddy, 37-year-old ICU nurse for the VA with zero criminal record and a license to conceal carry his weapon, rushed police officers with his weapon out, ready to shoot them, and when they tried to disarm him, he violently attacked the officers. Okay, let's roll the footage back. All right, so let's look at the altercation from the very beginning to the end, because according to Kristi Noem, Alex rushed officers with his weapon out, attempting to murder people. Altercation starts with an ICE officer running up and shoving a woman. Ah, yes, here's Alex here as he has his arm around this woman that was just shoved down in the street, obviously, viciously trying to attack these officers. All right, Alex now attempts to step in and protect the second woman who's about to be shoved to the ground in the street. So there you go. He tries to help this woman. He's immediately pepper sprayed in the face as he then continues to try to protect these two women. So yes, I'm not sure I'm saying the violent aggressor so far. He is now on the ground in essentially the fetal position, trying to protect his face as he's being pistol whipped by this officer here. Now, this becomes very important. What we've learned since is that he was completely disarmed of his weapon well before anyone ever laced off shots. As we watch this Border Patrol officer here in the gray jacket, I want you to notice something that I've seen. I don't think anybody else has seen yet here in this clip. Let's watch this. Watch as this comes out right here onto the ground. See that? You guys see this? That is a SIG pistol magazine. So what that means is They've already identified the weapon because it would be with his holster. They're now yanking his mag, and his weapon, the guy in the gray jacket here, has now pulled his weapon out of his holster, which means Alex never brandished his weapon, never pulled his weapon out of his holster if it's being pulled out by officers. You can see here, there's the gun. He's been disarmed of his magazines and his weapon. 7 officers on top of him, which means he poses no threat to anyone at this point. Simply being detained. So, absolutely horrific. But what do we know? Because we have eyeballs, right? We can all watch it together. Is that, no, this person was not a violent aggressor out on the street attacking law enforcement officers. He's standing there with his camera out, as the aggressors in this situation are Border Patrol, who run up and shove both of those women to the ground in front of him. And he was guilty of just essentially trying to protect 2 women in the street. Also, we now know, no, he didn't try to go for his weapon. He didn't try to kill law enforcement officers. He was disarmed before he ever touched his weapon. And then he was shot about 15 times after he was already disarmed. So what you would expect from this situation, from MAGA, from the conservative movement, from the Second Amendment community, from the NRA, is what you would expect is you would see a massive backlash against the federal government for infringing on constitutional rights. But no, that's not been the reaction. This has.
What is your advice to the people right now who are outraged that this is a second killing at the hands of Border Patrol in 2 weeks?
As Christy said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence.
Oh, well, look at that. That's the director of the FBI for the Trump administration telling you, as an American, you're not legally allowed to have a firearm on you down on the corner of a random street in America. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that was a crime? Crazy to me. I thought we had the Second Amendment. Apparently, the Second Amendment's about to go away under the Trump administration. How fast MAGA decided to throw the Second Amendment and your constitutional rights in the trash to support federal agents up and doing something stupid, by the way, in the streets of America. What a time to be alive in 2026. I also want you to think about how stupid that argument is. What is a protest? A protest is the actioning of an American's First Amendment constitutional rights. So the idea that if I'm going down to exercise and action my First Amendment rights, but it's illegal for me to exercise my Second Amendment rights while exercising my First Amendment rights, does that really make sense? Is that really where we're going ideology-wise, conservatives? And it's a push by the entire administration now. Here's more.
I am sorry that this gentleman is dead, but he did bring a 9mm semi-automatic weapon with 2 cartridges to what was supposed to be a peaceful protest. I think that there are a lot of paid agitators who are ginning things up, and the governor has not done a good job at tamping this down.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, he was an ICU nurse, worked for the Veterans Administration, and there's no evidence that he brandished the gun whatsoever. In fact, it appears that
he brought
he was disarmed before
he brought a gun. Have you ever gone to a protest, Jonathan?
I mean, we do have a Second Amendment in this country.
Oh my God, he brought a weapon to a protest? I mean, who else would do that? I don't know. You mean like this? Oh, yeah. What was that during COVID that we were all complaining about? Overreach of an authoritarian government? Well, what's this? Trump supporters are staging armed protests to stick it to coronavirus. Huh, well, would you look at that? And for me, honestly, I actually support your right to do this because I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, it turns out, which I thought that's what we all were on the right. But I'm learning very quickly that's not the case. Here you go. Let's look at some more. Let's listen to this dork that's in charge of the Border Patrol.
There's no evidence that he was perpetrating violence. And there's no evidence, unless you have it, and we'd love to see it if there is, that he was intending to massacre law enforcement, other than the fact that he was there and he had a gun lawfully.
He meant to be there beforehand. Again, Dana, he came there beforehand.
How do you know that?
Reason.
How do you know that?
Because he was there.
Because he was there. He was filming and documenting it, which is legal. He was carrying a gun, which in Minneapolis.
I didn't say it wasn't. And I didn't say it wasn't legal.
So then what did he do that was illegal?
Assault federal law enforcement when he does that. That's an active law enforcement crime scene
in the video that he
decided to
assaulted.
enter into.
Now, since the right seems to be very confused about what the Second Amendment is now all of a sudden, let's see what Charlie Kirk had to say about the Second Amendment.
Second Amendment is not about hunting. I love hunting. The Second Amendment is not even about personal defense. That is important.
Okay.
The Second Amendment is there, God forbid, so that you can defend yourself against a tyrannical government.
Oh.
Come on.
Huh, well, imagine that. The Second Amendment is there to, God forbid, protect yourself if you need to against a tyrannical government. You know, the type of government that'll roll up on you as an American citizen when you're simply standing there with a camera, throw you to the ground, disarm you, and then shoot you 15 times while you're no longer a threat. Like, is that what the Second Amendment is for? I'm just asking. Not really sure anymore. And it's such a bizarre one to me because this is such an easy open and shut thing for the right to be outraged by. A massive infringement on Second Amendment rights from a law-abiding citizen. The right should be up in arms with pitchforks right now. And even people like Asmongold who love ICE and the federal government, most of them are even saying the same thing.
It looks like they pulled his shirt up, and then it's this guy right here that has the gun, right? So there's the gun right there. I mean, the guy reaches over him with an empty hand, and then his hand comes back, and he has the gun. You would logically assume that he just picked up the guy's gun, especially whenever usually somebody has a gun that's on their side, right? And that's kind of where he reached.
Now, most people from any side, left, right, center, that are critical thinkers are in agreement on this one. This one is not a difficult one at all, but you still have MAGA influencers saying shit like this.
Not only did he pull the firearm, he clacked off a round. He pulled a gun and tried to shoot federal officers. Yeah, you get shot for that.
Guys, the level of simping for Donald Trump, for another grown man, for other politicians in people like this is mind-blowing. I have never seen a political party abandon its supposed values so fast than in this situation. It's absolutely insane. So here's the deal. And people seem, the right seems so confused by this right now, and I don't know why. See, you can actually be supportive of law enforcement, of the military, and still want a standard upheld. We want good police work being done in our communities. And if you are so brain rotted into the tribalism of your own political party that you can't look at a situation like this, left, right, or center, and be like, this was wrong, there needs to be accountability for this, we cannot have this becoming the norm in the streets, then there's not a lot of hope for you. And I would say this, if you just, all you have to do is just juxtapose if this was 4 years ago, switch it out, have the Biden administration in charge. If law enforcement federal agents were, let's say, out, I don't know, enforcing COVID laws and were yanking people out of their cars or killing people in the streets, law-abiding citizens who were just out and about with a concealed carry permit on them, the right would be furiously outraged. All you would hear on Fox News all day long for the next month is about this. But because Trump's in charge, now the federal government has full immunity to do whatever it wants to our citizens. Like, what are you doing, MAGA? What is this? So if you're the type of person, and especially if you're a Republican or calling yourself a conservative, and you are saying, oh, well, don't bring a loaded firearm down to a protest if you don't want to get shot and killed. Nah, dude. No, we are not playing that game with you. We're not doing those mental gymnastics that now the Second Amendment is the bad guy because law enforcement officers did something fucking stupid. And Republicans especially, obviously, you're going to get blown out regardless. But if you think now becoming the party that's against the Second Amendment is going to do well with your base, yeah, good luck. Because when the FBI director is out here parroting Beto O'Rourke firearm talking points about how you're not legally allowed to carry a firearm in America, yeah, you better see something especially out of the National Rifle Association. Because if you don't step up and denounce this, you're a fucking joke. But we're going to find out how bad this tribalism is and just see if MAGA has officially made the decision to abandon being the party of constitutionalism. Wild times in 2026. It's going to do it for this one. Catch y'all in the next video.